Hi. Welcome back to Two Kims.
One pod.
And I'm one of your Kims. I'm Peter Kim.
And I'm your other Kim, Unji.
Thank you so much for coming back, everyone, to another new episode of our pod. Today, I want to dive straight into one of the most excruciating comedy experiences I had of late.
Yeah.
And it was, let me back up and say that the premise of this show was excellent.
Okay.
Like, I was very much into it. So the show was, I forget what the title was. It was some like punny title, but the premise of the show was comics would come up and do like a 5 to 8 minute set, but a specific like story set.
Okay.
About like their most embarrassing moment or oopsie daisy,
Sure.
something where they fucked up, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a musician's on stage, and they would like impromptu like make a song, a roast song.
Okay.
Kind of like wrapping up your story, but hitting all the like pertinent jokes or points. Kind of like if you've ever seen a long form improv show, they might have done The Dream, where you bring someone up and you ask them about their day, and then you like do like an improvised bit, kind of taking us through like a scenic structure of the day or whatever. So that's what these like musicians were doing. That's what we were told.
Okay.
So the first comic goes up, does her set, great. She has some like embarrassing story about her like sorority girls and all of them sharing the same vibrator or something like that. And then the musician quickly writes down a bunch of like notes and like regurgitates her story, but in like a punchline-y type of song. And it was just so like beautiful, and like the music was great and the jokes were funny, and I was like, oh wow, this is so incredible. Like, what a great idea for a show. So we're like off to the start, and I'm third up, right? Fourth up. The second person goes up and the musician goes, okay folks, I'm gonna take a break. And I'm like,
What?
wait, why are you taking a break? And he goes, there's a guest roaster
Huh?
who's going to come up, another musician. So I'm going to like play for them and they're going to do the lyrics. And I was like, okay. So the second comic goes up, they go up, and then afterwards they clap for the comic who tells this, story about like jerking off in the bedroom next to her sister or something. And the music starts, the same pianist, but he's not doing the lyrics. A guest roaster comes up. This lady who sings like a jazzy version, but like really bad, and like is not reinterpreting the story.
Okay.
Just saying like one line kind of over and over again. Like, don't come in, don't come in, don't come in the room.
The cover the bay, just you with D. What's that? King Control?
Zabi.
Zabadi.
That would have been actually funnier. So she's not doing the roast right.
Okay.
And I'm like, why did he ask her? Maybe it's because like she's getting into musical improv, so like he wanted to give her a chance or something.
Okay.
So the second roast was weird. And then the third person goes up, she roasts again, and it's even worse because this comic was a little worse and did not give as many details. So she had to just kind of like pull very like vague things out of his story, and the roast was even worse, right?
Okay.
So I go, oh god, I hope I don't get her as my roast. And then on the lineup I see that the person roasting me is called K-Zads or something.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, it's a different guest roaster, so at least it'll be a different person. So phew. The person before me goes up, tells their story, and I'm backstage now because I'm on deck, right? And I'm not hearing any music.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, what's happening? Who's roasting? All I'm hearing is like people talking. And I like peek back onto stage from backstage, and I'm realizing now there is a improv team up there, 6 people, all white, doing bad improv about this story.
Wait.
And they're doing, so it's like basically The Dream.
Oh my God. Wait.
But not underscored, not funny, This is not 3033 doing The Dream. This is like, imagine IO level 2 students who had to like, couldn't graduate to level 3. doing this show. And I was like, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck. I realized that I'm up next and they're going to roast me with their improv. But here's the thing.
Wait, I don't understand the roasting.
The reason
what?
the roasting is basically them like redoing your thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's supposed to be like a musical interpretation of your story, but like with punchlines. You ever seen those like if you ever seen like Mortified,
Yes.
they'll do stuff like
Yeah.
that, like where people come up and read their like third grade poems or journal entries.
Yes.
And then like a live band will come out and like basically sing a song
For sure.
using your details.
Right.
So it's a similar version to that, except my person roaster wasn't even a musician. It was an improv team. And I was like, why is this happening? I thought this was like a blend of music and improv, like a night of that. But music and like stories. But now there's this like house team that's coming up and doing like bad improv after this story. And I'm thinking, okay, so I've done enough improv and I've done enough dreams,
Right.
Where if the like funny thing about reinterpreting someone's story is taking like the details that are usually like the minutia of the story and you're blowing it out. Right?
Yes.
That kind of like creates the comedy of like, oh, the alarm was ringing. I woke up and the alarm's like ringing like a Nazi alarm or whatever.
Sure.
Like it's like, bam, bam, you're making it bigger than it is. And that's like the whole point. And I knew that this improv team to follow me, it was going to be hard for them because the story I was telling is a story that the details you don't want to do improv on. Because it's a story about me in Chicago interning at IO and being edged on Grindr to the point where like I got upset and ate a bunch of Taco Bell when he ghosted me, and then he sent me his dick pics, and I went to go hook up with him. Turns out he was a racist, and I shat all over him.
Oh yeah, I was like, yeah.
So I knew that my story is going to be so graphic, and the like shining like punchline to that is that I shit on his back,
Yes.
right? So like they're going to use that, and when you use shit in an improv scene, it's not going to go well.
No.
Like it's due to pee-pee stuff. Like that's not unless you elevate it to something else or map it over.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for improv. And
No.
like, and what, you're gonna replay like my racist counterpart? Like, I know you're not gonna do that. You're a bunch of white people doing improv.
Yeah.
So like when they went up to like roast me or do my set over like whatever or improvise my set, they just bombed the entire time.
What did they
You ever
choose?
see an improv team that hug the backstage even though they're doing scene work?
Yes, I've seen it.
The back
It's
wall.
horrible. That's like my biggest pet
That's what
peeve.
it was.
Yes, it's like
That's what it was the entire
it's
time.
horrible. They're so nervous.
So nervous because they weren't getting any laughs because they couldn't map over any of my stuff because all my details in my story are like extreme. They're already hyperbolized and big.
Sure.
So like it's hard to go from big to bigger.
Yeah.
And I knew this going in. And I was like, fuck. And at the end of my story, I said, and then blah, 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 blah. And I call back the line and I go, thank you so much. All right, improv team, good luck. And I left the stage. And I shouldn't have said that because I don't think that helped. But
Yeah, no, not at all. That's like very much
I
like a
just
challenge.
yeah. No, but I just knew they weren't going to like it. And you know how bad it was? Someone wiped the scene on silence, like shaking their head at themselves and their own team, and then went straight down to their seat. They didn't bow. They didn't say blah, blah, blah. She wiped, shaking her head, wiped the scene, and then went directly to her seat to sit back down.
Wow. They didn't they didn't take a bow?
They didn't want to be seen or heard of. They had enough of the limelight. And honestly, so did we. And I want to have empathy for improv teams because I'm like, it's a hard thing, but this is I was reminded why I did not want to be around improvisers.
I mean, also to be fair, like at least with shit like this, I mean, this is also like a big lesson if anyone's listening and currently in classes, like stuff like this. If they had made the decision to have fun, that's literally all it is, right? And if there's not,
they just try to do it right.
Yes,
which was already such a
yes,
bad.
and there's just like that's truly like a mark of a young, immature team, right?
Because you could have did a mono scene and did just a whole stupid scene about all the workers at Taco Bell and be like, he's back.
Yes,
oh
literally.
No,
like
that fatty's back, and he's looks like he got dumped and ghosted
and the
again.
same thing with
like you didn't have to bring
any of the actual
you
stuff.
could just have fun.
Literally,
like,
just been like you could have been all the other interns at IO. You could have been the people.
Hello.
You could have been people that were improvising and
you could have just been people pinging each other on Grindr.
Literally anything else. But again, that's like such a mark.
You can't teach that. You can't teach that. That only comes from experience
and doing it
of knowing that if your goal is to get improv right, you're gonna get it wrong.
Absolutely.
10 out of 10 times. If you're not serving your fun, you're doing it wrong.
I mean, like to be like it could be argued a little bit with like stand up as well. I will also ask you, like,
100%.
Can I ask you, like, sometimes this happens where, like, were the comics more veteran than the improvisers?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where it's like a little bit,
way more.
Yeah, like that's not good. That's not a good idea.
That's not a good production move.
Absolutely not.
No.
Like everyone kind of needs to be.
Because they're heavy. And don't have an improv team. Like, just don't.
Scooby-Doo-Bob. Oh, Shabazzy Day.
No.
I mean, like, what a crazy move. Did they, like, was that supposed to always be like that? Like, only the top of the show was going to get the jazz and then the bottom?
I thought it was going to be all jazz.
All of that
It would have
jazz.
been great if it was. It really would have been great because you're adding a new layer to it. The music, the musicality, the rhyming. Like, that's the, like, magic of it. And the callbacks are just, like, the reward for listening.
Absolutely.
But, like, without the music, it's just bad improv. It's just like the longest dream at IO.
Oh my god! And the thing about it is thing about like bombing, like as an improv team is that you always have a ton of time.
So much time.
Like it's not like if you're a comic and you're bombing, you're usually out after 5. Like it's and so improv, you just got to be on stage with like for like up to
minutes and minutes
for 15
and
to 20, and it's like and especially if everyone's hugging the wall, honey. That shit's brutal. I'm just
hugging not just the people in the back line, like the people in the scene were literally stepping on the toes and you saw them go inch back, back, because what they're doing is not working, right? It's like, so they keep going. It's like a magnet that pulls you to the back wall.
It's the shame
because you're not confident.
It's the shame that's pulling you back. Yeah.
But let me tell you this. This is also a teaching moment for those of you listening who might be taking classes, Unji students. In that moment when you're out there starting downstage and you try something, you make a move and it doesn't work, your next move is not to go back or like reach backstage or upstage. I would double down on the move, all right? Tell them they're wrong, okay? Because your commitment to your thing is going to end up funny. Okay, so like the only thing that's gonna make it worse is if you back out.
Yeah.
If you decide to not commit to your bit, we're all rolling our eyes.
Uh-huh.
But if you overcommit to your bit, you're gonna win.
Absolutely.
Either way, it might not be funny at the end of the day, but I won't lose respect for you. And you won't be hugging the back motherfucking stage. You'll be downstage in the goddamn audience.
And having fun. Like truly, like there's no way that they can take that away from you, because like that's ultimately the thing. Like who's gonna take away your fun? Like if it's like they can't yuck your yum. It's not
No.
that in that situation because you're already yummy.
You're in control of your
You're
yum.
totally in control of your yum.
And you're yucking it
You're
out by hugging the back wall.
Exactly. Like
You're yucking your own
you're
yum.
yucking your own yum. Absolutely. It's
Yeah, stay downstage.
and just double down on it makes it feel. It's like when you fart and you kind of pretend like nothing and you're like ashamed, as opposed to owning it and being like, it was me. And then all of a sudden it goes from a thing of shame to like, she's crazy. She's like she got intestinal issues, and it's just even
For me, if I fart, I think for me, there's nothing funnier than farting and being like, ew, what the fuck? And making a huge big deal out of it. Like, even if it's not my fart, if it's someone else's fart.
Yeah.
Like, I like making a big deal
too.
because I think it's
I
funny.
think it's funny.
Because it's like, obviously, I don't care that much. But, like, I'm putting it on to make you laugh. So, like, that's the I think, like, mindset you should have when you make a move and it doesn't work is they're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, prove to them. Like, go deeper into your thesis.
Show your work.
Your essay.
Show your work.
Show your work. Prove me some
yes,
points.
thank you. Prove that theorem, honey. Like,
Don't
go.
abandon the premise.
Yes. Because the thing is, there are so many times when I'm talking to my students where they're like looking at me and they have a question. Like, how often I look at them like, I don't fucking know. You're the one making it up. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no right answer. Just double down. It's like the fact that you're able to answer the question, double down.
That is so hard that's the hardest thing to learn.
Yeah.
Is to not care about being wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that in any art form, by the way, but comedy specifically is the hardest, I think, in my opinion, because of the instantaneousness of the gratification and the response of that you're wrong. Because you could paint a picture and people not like it, but sometimes you won't even know if they don't like it or if it's wrong or ugly.
I mean, and same thing with
in comedy, it's immediate. So unless you have a slightly like masochistic bone in your body, that's gonna fucking hurt.
Of course.
And you got to lean into that hurt because that's the people are like, what's the shortcut? Get hurt a lot.
Constantly. I mean, there's just no replacement.
Constantly be hurt.
There's no other way to develop that callus. You can't buy a guitar callus. You can't buy any of that stuff. It's only by doing it over and over again. Yeah. I mean, that's the part that, like, I think in current culture feels so bizarre that that's something that you simply cannot purchase.
Let me ask you this.
You can't Amazon.
Now, that skill, that's true. I agree with that. That comes with experience. Now, on the flip side, there are people that get to the result of that experience without the callus. So I want to talk to you quickly before we wrap up this episode about how you feel about Grace O'Malley. Because I just recently saw if you guys don't know who Grace O'Malley is, she's a comic personality out of Barstool Sports, I believe.
Formerly of Barstool.
That's where she was known, and she's now independent and doing her own thing, and she's touring, and she's doing theaters. Yeah. She's been doing stand-up for 1 year. She's doing it theaters because she has the pull. Yeah. Now, she was on a podcast recently saying something very interesting. She said she had been getting guff from other people, not people lower than her, but people selling the same amount of tickets as her, doing theaters, the same her level,
in terms of being
sales level,
yeah,
right?
enable
theater
people,
who are expressing disgust at her being here.
Disgust?
Contempt.
To her face?
Behind her back, but it got to her.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that got to her.
Yeah.
So she was expressing there are people who don't like this. Sure. And that's why she feels awkward talking about comedy. because she has felt judged,
Okay.
right? So
Wait,
how
she
do
felt
you?
judged?
Yeah, she's feeling
I
judged
mean, it's
from the
comedy.
comedy
Okay.
scene. I mean, the judgiest.
Yeah, I
group of
know.
people
It's
in
like
the
the
world.
most like the bitchiest
You
group of
entered this
yes.
space, yeah.
Literally.
It's like going to South Korea and be like, "Don't talk about my
Yeah, like what are you talking about? This
body.
is
No, don't look at my
it's
body.
the den. It's a lion's lair,
Yeah.
honey. Like that's
You came in here,
Yeah.
David." So is it David versus the lion? No, David and
Goliath,
Goliath.
yeah.
Who was in the lion's den? Judah? No. Elijah? Gosh,
I don't fucking know.
I used to know this stuff.
Me too.
Anyway.
No.
Anyway. Sam.
Sam?
You're like, Bradley?
Aiden?
No. Caleb? Apple? So how do you feel?
Wait, was
You're
she-
a woman.
She was complaining
You've
about
been
it.
working at it.
She was complaining about it.
She wasn't complaining about it. The person interviewing her asked her like, how has it been, touring, blah blah. She's like, oh, I'm doing theaters now,
Yeah.
but that's not cool for some people.
Oh, okay. So she's bitching about it on the pod.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been experiencing some negative attention.
Sure, but I mean, she's feels good enough about it to bitch about it on a pod.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But, so how do you feel about that? Like, what are your thoughts on Grace O'Malley and her doing 1 year of comedy and selling out theaters and touring theaters? Is it a good for her, I don't care for you? Or is it, okay, it is. You're not comparing your decades of work and...
Well, when you put it like that, now...
Because I was thinking about this, like, I don't feel competitive with her.
No.
And I wonder if it's because I don't consider her a comic. Is that what it is?
Oh, maybe.
And maybe is that what she's getting bullied? Like, is that the negative tension she's feeling? Like, oh, you're not a real comic. You're a personality selling tours.
I mean,
you're a public speaking.
But also,
person.
Peter, the truth is, it wouldn't fucking matter where she was if she had done it for 12, 13, 14 years. Someone's always going to be complaining. It would have been
100%.
Someone been like, oh,
haters gonna hate.
You know what I mean?
Haters
Like,
gonna
oh,
hate.
this bitch, she's on theaters because of X, Y, Z. Like, this is why she knows this person. It's like comics are just the cattiest, bitchiest group of people. Period. Right?
And do you subscribe to a certain way that you have to do your comedy career?
I think now at this point, how about this? 3 years ago, I would have said, and I would have been really
puritanical.
And I think I just would have been a little more butthurt about like where where respectively careers and pull should be. Right. I think I would have been much more tied up with what should be and what had been and what people deserve or don't deserve. And now I think it's like, if you can do, like if she's doing this shit and the people are liking it and the people that have purchased the tickets aren't complaining, who's being hurt? And the thing is, like, it's not as if I know Grace, like from her pod and stuff, like, it's not like I don't think she doesn't not respect comedy or comics, right? She really does like it, and she knows what is going on. But if you had this sort of like random opportunity to do this, of course you would leverage it. I'd be selling.
I agree.
I'd be selling everything, and the thing is, there's a part of it where I am reminded of the adage that Chris Rock says about how you can be seen too early. You can never be seen too late. And, it happened with Chris Rock because he got famous before he had a headlining set. It happened with Schumer. She got hit before she was like basically a feature and then suddenly had to go on the road. it's like, show business is full of these things. And I think if she really wants to do it, like Schumer buckled down and fucking did it. Rock did too. It's just, I don't know. I think I would have felt it differently a couple of years ago, but now just seeing the media landscape and, I used to ask my students, because they love these kind of shows. Oh shit. They love these kind of shows and stuff. And I was like, would you go see them again? Because a lot of them are like, they know that these aren't great shows. And I'm like, would you go see them again? 100% of them would go again. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
It's more about your fave.
Yes.
As opposed to, it's the Taylor Swiftiness of it all. It's like, I think the girls know Taylor Swift is pop, good pop.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bringing genre-breaking, mind-bending art.
No.
But the girls know. They're like, she's my fave, so I'm going.
And I can go with my friends. We're going to wear
not
bracelets.
Asking the same questions anymore. We're not asking the question of like who's a better comic, who's that's not the question we should be asking anymore. It's unfortunately, I think our world has changed to how are you your own rotating content factory.
Yeah. I mean, that's really it. And so
live or otherwise.
And that's like, and that's like kind of the part that's a part of it that's kind of heartening, honestly, is that in spite of so much of our current business being digitized and free and online, that, people are still able to make a living going out there. That like it's still the live performance of it all. That is how you make actual money. And how most people prefer to experience comedy. So, like,
I'm telling you, I've always said this: comedy follows music.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it is.
That's exactly how it's going to happen. Especially with YouTube specials now, like, it's comedy follows music. The same maturation systems, and if you want to be ahead of it as a comedian, just look at what happened to the music industry and just be ahead of it that way. So become the Spotify of comedy.
I mean, it's been very, I don't, there's so much of this shit. Like there's so many content creators where I just don't understand. To me, it would be, there's so much audacity involved in asking people to spend $80 to watch the same bit over and over again. Right. I mean, I'm thinking of like content creators like that are coming out and doing that. And I've talked to people that have gone to these shows, loved it, had the time of their life. It's exactly what they wanted. And it was like exactly what and I'm just like, it's
like going to your favorite band.
That's
what it's become.
Yeah, I guess. Like, so you just want to hear the hits? Like, I mean, so much about
it's a nostalgia thing. There's a comfort when you go hear your faves. And you hear the same music that you know every word.
But comedy like requires a certain amount of like surprise and like you know what I mean. Like that's like that's the part where I don't understand. And it's like the thing is, it's not like
I think it's more of like you're less going for like the surprise. I think if you're going again, like you're going for the comfort of hearing them do their act that way.
I guess it's just in my mind, like laughter is like sneeze or orgasm. It's kind of like involuntary. So like even if you like it, I guess because if you're bombing and you are a musician, you're playing over the bomb. You can't hear it, right? And people are going to be quiet and they're all that stuff. And even if they do talk, you can't hear it because the music is loud enough. When you are on stage in a huge theater, right? 500 plus, some of these people.
Right. But you're going to see them, once a year repeatedly? You're not going like twice a year. And in a year, think about how much media you consume. Like, your brain's going to be awash with fucking Jello. And by the time you see your favorite again, it probably feels new.
Yeah. I mean,
or like somewhat trodden, Kind of like how Fortune does her, like, when she's working on her new tour, like, she does like a chunk of new and then she like takes a break and says, all right, I'm going to do an oldie. You want to hear this one or that one? Yeah. And people like go this one. And she's like, all right, we're going to do the Hooters one. And then it goes into it and fucking kills. And they all know it, or the people have never heard it. You know what I mean? So like, I think there is again, I think we're gonna follow music. Like
Man.
it's gonna be that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some of it is like I'm not enough of I mean, we talked about it. Like we're just not enough of a fan of shit. You know, like
That you want to go back and hear it.
I mean, I'm a fan of like, yeah, like I guess I maybe I was
But
just
you
too old.
rewatch SVU like nonstop.
Yeah, it's true. But it's like different kind of, I don't know, like live though. I don't know. It's
live. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't.
But who do you go watch anyway? Whether it's new or old.
The comedy.
Yeah.
I don't go see comedy.
That's what I mean. So it's not about you or for you.
It's true.
It's about the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have any. I think go for it. She's really kind of survived a bunch of stuff. I'd be very curious.
Go off. Yeah. If you can do it out there, do it. You know, it's the whole thing has changed, and I have no like things of like, well, I did it this way, so you got to line up behind me and do it. Like I don't give a
Because
fuck.
let me tell you right now, don't do it like me. It hasn't worked out.
Right? We're still doing this pod, so. All right, guys. Speaking of pod, thank you so much for listening, and come back next week.
Bye.
Bye.